Hello people, welcome to a little video about how to do a good lab. Some of those pesky and horrible criteria, of course, that we are assessing you on are based on your lab skills. So I want to make sure you know how to write about a lab, what things will be in a lab, and what are Mr. Robertson's top tips for doing well in a lab. For me, all labs should start with what is called a hypothesis, or in a simple word, a phrase, what I think will happen. That's the bit of the lab where you say, I am doing this experiment and I think this will happen because. You make a prediction. You try and say what will happen. If you have maybe, for example, cold water and hot water, I think the hot water will have a higher temperature than the cold water. That's very simple. But that could be one of the ideas, possibly. Then we come on to what is called the method. This is what you will do. This is something super important. This is one of the things with a criteria. Because what you need to do for a method is make it really clear and really easy to follow. It should be in a step-by-step way. Like a cooking recipe. First I do this. Number 2, do this. Number 3, do this. So it's all really easy to follow. And like a recipe, make it precise. Be accurate about what you're trying to say. Don't say, put some water in. Tell me exactly how much your water you want to put in. Be precise. And that will help. Because one of these criteria says that students can make plans which can be systematically developed. That is School Beckett's phrase. You should be able yourself to start writing a plan for how to do the lab in a system. And then of course it comes to the lab itself, actually doing the experiment. And for those students looking at the A grades, it's not enough just to get an answer from your experiment. It needs to be done in a way that is appropriate and effective. What those words mean, it's about how you go and do that experiment. It makes sure you're using the correct equipment, that you can follow the instructions. It means that you know which equipment to use and you can work that out in your plans. What I could do for the top students is say, I want you to find out this information. You can use anything in your lab. Off you go. And they will pick the correct piece of equipment to do so. And they will use it correctly. And we will watch and we will see that they are using appropriate equipment. They pick the right ones. And they use it correctly, effectively. We're looking for that. And we want you to do it well. Then of course, afterwards, you will always write your results from a lab. And it's important to make sure that you write your results down in a proper way. Again, one of these criteria, pupils draw up well-developed documentation of their studies using texts or pictures. So for me, make sure that you tell me what the result says. And you may need more ways to do it. You may draw a table to help explain. You may draw a graph to help explain. Those pictures could be really useful. Show it in a really clear way. But after the lab, you have to do something called a conclusion. The conclusion comes after the lab, and that's where you put your science. That is where you tell me why. Why is the hot water hotter than the cold water? What does hot mean? What actually happened in the experiment I was doing? And again, it's got a criteria, this one. It's got something you can do. So it asks you to compare your results and have developed ideas about what is the same and different. So that could be, for example, I took some hot water from my group and it was 50 degrees Celsius, and another group could have it at 60 degrees. Why could there be a difference? Can you explain using some science? That's some of the skills that we're looking for. We need you to look at different results and be able to say, what could be different? Why could it be different? It's your science part. There is, finally, one more part to this. I'll get rid of hypothesis and I'll write evaluation. The evaluation is the last thing you do in a lab. It's where you look at what happened and can I make it better? Was the test fair? Did every group do it the same way? Were there some errors in it? Did you have things that you couldn't control? Maybe you couldn't exactly get the measurement of water to be perfectly how much you wanted. Can you suggest a way to make it better? And that's a horrible criteria. Students at the A grades can make proposals which improve the study. You must suggest a better way. I will always give you experiments that you can improve. And I need you to be able to say how you can improve them. If you can do that and explain that, you've got one of your A's. These are all the tricks you need to make sure you do the best in labs. Your methods go through step by step, make them precise, show that you can give people instructions on how to do it. Use the right equipment, use them well, pick them well. Show your results, show them really clearly. Tell us why your results maybe were the same or were different from other groups. Use your science knowledge and tell me how to make it better. That's how to do a lab. Good luck.